Hey everyone, in today's video, we will learn about GoHighLevel's opportunity and pipeline-based automation. So if you aren't familiar with GoHighLevel's opportunity and pipelines, it's basically where you bring your leads and you nurture them and you close them. So GoHighLevel gives you a very good interface to bring your leads in and nurture them. You can increase the efficiency of your businesses or someone else's businesses, sales and marketing. If you know how to do automations, opportunities and pipelines, you can take it to the next level. And that's exactly what we are going to learn. First of all, let's go to a sub account. We are already in a sub account, as you can see. We will go to opportunities. This is where all the magic happens. So this is a blank slate. We are going to create a pipeline. We will maybe create multiple pipelines just to see how it works, just to get familiar with it. So this is where we are going to do our stuff today. But before that, let's talk about what we are going to do in this video. So first of all, we are going to see how to automatically bring new leads into our pipelines. So when we create our pipeline here, it will be a sales pipeline, it will be a clients or members pipeline. There will be pipeline for nurturing abandoned leads, like the leads who aren't responding or the leads who are not very high quality. When we create those pipelines, we need to learn how to bring leads in automatically to those pipelines. We need to also see if we change a pipeline stage for a lead from one stage to another, how to do automatic follow-up. So we will learn about that. These are all simple things, but these are very important for you to learn if you want to actually use the full potential of GoHighLevel. We will also see if you change the stage of a lead, how to send no-show follow-up. So if someone does not show up for an appointment or a consultation, how do you follow up with them so they can book another time? Stale opportunity. So if a lead has been sitting idle for a long time, how to reactivate them automatically. So we will learn about that as well. Status updates. So there are statuses in your leads. How do we automate them and bring them to another pipeline so it doesn't clog our main sales pipeline? We will also see if status is changed to 1, if we close a lead, make them a client or a member or a customer, how do we automate a few stuff? So this is basically what we are going to cover in today's video. But first, let's go to our high-level account and let's go to pipelines here. So we will create a pipeline called sales. Let's talk about what will be the stages. So let's just get rid of everything from here. We will add a stage called new lead. So everything begins with a new lead. If you have a business, the business starts off with advertising. So you're advertising and someone shows interest in your product or service. When they show an interest, they put an inquiry in through a form or chat widget or directly calling you or directly reaching out to you via Facebook Messenger or Instagram. There could be different sources leads are coming from. What happens is if they do that, if they put an inquiry in, they will end up in new lead stage. That's basically our first stage. The second stage will be contacted or responded. So this is where you have made a contact with that person who put an inquiry in, or maybe you just did some follow-ups after they put the inquiry in and then they responded with some more information. This is where you move them when that happens. So the next one will be booked a call. After you speak to them, you book them in for a call. That's when they get moved here. The next stage will be missed appointment. So if they book a call, they could not show up, they could cancel, or they could be a no-show. So if we change the missed appointment to canceled or no-show, that works. So this is where they get moved when they don't show up for the appointment or they cancel beforehand. So the next one will be attended, is where they attend the call and they get moved here. The next stage could be contract sent or something. So you've had the call with them and you've sold them and then you've sent a contract to them. And then the next one will be sold or closed. We could say closed. The next one could be ghosted. So this is where you move them if they stop responding, if they say, no, I'm not very interested. So you ghost them or they ghost you, whatever. So these are standard stages for any business you can think of. These stages will exist for any business you have a sales process for. The stages names could be different, but pretty much the stages are these. So we will create the sales pipeline.
Hey everyone, just wanted to take a quick moment to share my school community where if you join, you get to ask me questions about issues you're facing on GoHighLevel Ads Automation AI. You can also be a part of the weekly coaching sessions where I conduct training on many different topics and we do a Q&A session after that. Besides, you get free access to a lot of my courses that I'm not uploading on YouTube anymore. Some of them you can already see on the screen. Also, there are members only discounts. So if you join, you get 50% off on my courses, my snapshots, my funnels, everything. That's pretty much what I want to share. See you on the other side.
Now, if we go to opportunities, you can see there's a sales pipeline here and there are multiple stages that we created. New lead, contacted, responded, booked call, canceled, no-show, attended, contract sent, closed, ghosted. So similarly, you can create a client's pipeline. Similarly, you can create an abandoned pipeline if you abandon a lead or the lead abandons you, like they say, I don't want to purchase from you, or I don't have the money to do it, you move them to abandoned. So you don't keep leads that are low quality or leads that are not very serious about buying from you. You don't keep them here. So that's basically the goal. But we have our pipeline now. Now let's think about how to bring leads in here automatically. So if we now go to sites, we know that GoHighLevel lets us create forms in them. And these forms can be embedded on your landing page. These forms can be embedded on your websites. These forms can also be used independently. So if we go to Form Builder, let's create a form called inquiry form or something. So this form will be shared with your people on your social media, on your website or stuff. But when this form submits, so we will say inquiry form. So we have the first name, last name, phone number, email. So we can do this. We can move it around. And that's it. This is our form, right? You can style the form and stuff from the right side. There are lots of settings and configurations that will allow you to change the look and feel of the form, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. We're just sticking to the opportunities and pipelines automation. Now, when we preview this will give us the link. When this form gets submitted by someone, we want them to create an opportunity here. So in order to do that, we will go to automation. Let's create a folder, opportunities, automation, and we will create our first workflow here. This is where the automation begins. So we will start it from scratch. We don't want to go with any templates or stuff. And the first workflow we will create is new lead, add to pipeline. So the goal of this workflow is when the form submit happens by someone, their information will be brought in the pipeline. So the trigger will be form submitted. Form is inquiry form. So we are selecting the form. Specifically, when that form is submitted, this workflow will bring that inquiry in and create an opportunity in the sales pipeline. That's our goal. So we have created the trigger. The action will be create or update opportunity. So use this one specifically. In pipeline will be sales pipeline. We only have one. In stage will be new lead, and the opportunity name. So when it creates a card in the pipeline, it should say their name. So we will say contact full name. Click on this tag, go with contact full name and click on this. Source can be anything. So it could be inquiry form. So you know that the opportunity source is the form that they submitted. Opportunity value is basically the estimated revenue that you're going to get from this lead. So if you have a roofing business and if you're selling roof replacement services for $10,000, every lead you get will be worth $10,000. So that value will be this. It's basically a potential revenue that you may get from someone. So we will just keep it blank and the status will be open. Let me explain the statuses. So open means you haven't sold anything. You're in conversation with this person. So when this opportunity is getting added to your pipeline, you keep it open. If you sell someone something, you mark that person as won. Won means you sold something to that person. Lost means when they decline your offer and say, I don't have money to buy it, I don't want to buy it, or can't buy it. So they directly decline your offer. Abandoned means they're hesitant, or they are not responding, or they're not ready yet, but there's a chance that they will buy something from you in the future. So these are 4 statuses. When this form submit happens, we will keep them open because we just started the conversation. They just showed interest. That's why we'll keep it open. And once done, we will hit publish. So now, if we go ahead and submit this form with some test information, so if we submit this, it should create an opportunity card here. There we go. So this is just the form submit that came through from my test. If you click on this, it will show you all the opportunity details, the pipelines, and the status is open. As you can see, all credit goes to the workflow we created, and these are the information. Now, if you click on the name instead of the card, because I clicked on the card here, if you click on the name, it will bring you to the conversations area. Here we go. So now you can chat with this person. You can message them. You can send them a WhatsApp message. You can email them. So these are all the stuff that happened automatically because of the automation. And these are information that shows up. And this shows the contact's activities. So what did the contact do in the past? So that kind of stuff can be showed if you click on the name. Instead of clicking on the name, you can call them from here. So if you directly click on this button, it will make a phone call from if you have a phone number in this account. You can also text message them. You can tag them. You can add a note. You can add a task. You can book them in for an appointment. You can do all sorts of stuff from here. So that's why it's very powerful. And that's why you should use it in your business sales. I know a lot of people don't use pipelines feature, but you're missing out on a lot. Trust me. That's with the new lead. And similarly, if you want to automate the forms, the surveys, the calendars, every time a form gets submitted, every time a survey, every time a quiz gets submitted, a chat widget inquiry comes in, you can create a similar workflow like this one that we just created. Instead of the form submit as a trigger, you can use survey submitted, right? Like this. And then you can select a survey if you have one in this account. You can say customer replied, and then you could say chat widget. So if you have a chat widget in this account, you can say reply channel is chat widget. So when someone puts an inquiry in the chat widget that you have created inside GoHighLevel, that you have embedded on the website, that will also create an opportunity because of this action. So this action basically creates an opportunity card in your pipeline. That's basically that. So we will just get out of this. So we've done this part. We know that if we go to opportunities and go to pipelines, we can see a bunch of leads and we can move them around. So we can manually move them to any stage. Like if they don't show up for an appointment, we can move them to canceled or no show. So we can just move them and put them like this. If we move them to a stage, whether automatically or manually, like you can actually move them around automatically as well. We will see how to do that. If we move them around from one stage to another, whether automatically or manually, we can also do some automations there. If we change our stage, we can add to follow-up or we can add to any automations. We just go to automation and let's create one from here. Let's just create one from scratch again. And we will say stage change, add to follow-up. The trigger for this one will be pipeline stage change. Now let's say they get moved to contacted or responded. That's the second stage we have in our pipeline. So we will say in pipeline sales stage will be contacted responded. So if we move them to contacted responded, let's say we contact with them, they respond to any of our follow-up. We want to send an email from, let's say, this company X. This is the name of the company. Thanks for your interest. Hi, contact first name. We will say, this is where the name will be replaced. This will be the contact's name. We'll say, thanks for getting in touch with us. We've had a chat recently. This goes out when you move them to contacted responded. So we're saying, we've had a chat recently. We will reach out to you if we have any more questions. Best regards, something like this. So this is just one example of automation you can do. You can also get notified. So if we do notifications and this will be sent to you, this action is basically sending you an email saying that this person has been moved to contacted responded. This person responded to any of our follow-ups. The thing I wanted to show you is pipeline stage changed. This is the trigger that basically activates this workflow if someone gets moved to contacted responded. So if you want to get notified, do the same thing. Select user type. You can just set it to a particular user in the account, or you want to send it to a custom email. So just say one. So I want to receive an email notification to this email address saying that has replied to our message. They get moved to contacted responded. We get a notification saying that this person, John Smith, has replied to our message. We will say contact, full name, and also let's get the phone number, has responded to our follow-up. Please check the pipeline. There we go. So we are getting notification. We are also letting them know that we've had a chat. So this is basically a concept. I'm just showing you the technical side of it. I'm not showing you the strategy or how to get, implement your best pipeline. That depends on you. You can only do it when you know how different actions work in the workflows. That's how you can automate stuff if you change a stage. So that same thing applies to no-show follow-up. We will go to our pipelines. If someone gets moved to canceled or no-show. Let's say they booked a call and they were in here. This person didn't show up for the appointment. Now what I can do is, since this person didn't show up, we can just move them to canceled or no-show. And we want, when they are moved to canceled or no-show, we want to send them follow-ups to book another time for the call. So in order to do that, we apply the same rule. So we will just go to opportunities and go to start from scratch, and we will just copy and paste this name. So we will add another trigger called pipeline stage changed. And this time, instead of selecting the sales pipelines contacted stage, we will say pipeline stages canceled or no-show. Now this workflow will activate when someone is moved to canceled or no-show stage. Now we will do this email. So you can fill out the from name and from email address. This is basically what the email address is going out from, saying, sorry, you couldn't make it for the call today. Hi, contact first name. Sorry, you couldn't show up for the call. Life happens. We understand that. Here is the link to book another time. And then you can just put the link here. Best regards. So this is just a follow-up happening if you move them to no-show, and they know they will receive the follow-ups, right? And you can do multiple follow-ups. I'm not saying you can do only one. So let me make it a bit smaller. I will add an wait step. We will add for 1 day. So I'm just adding this after this email goes out. So this email goes out, the system waits for 1 day, and you can copy this email and paste it here like this. And this will be your email too. And you can change the subject line. You can change the email body and then send the second follow-up after 1 day. And now you can just copy this again, copy all actions from here, and then wait 1 more day, send them email 3. This is how we create follow-ups for no-show, canceled appointments stuff. So save it, publish it. From now on, if you move them to that stage, what will happen is this workflow will send them email 1 and wait 1 day, and then send email 2 and wait 1 more day and send email 3. This is how it goes. So this is how we send no-show follow-ups. Let's add another one called booked appointments. So booked appointments. So if someone books an appointment with you, so we will copy this, start from scratch. So if they book an appointment in a calendar, what will happen is we will add a trigger called appointment status. Event type is normal, and we will say appointment status is confirmed. So if you have a calendar in the system, in this GoHighLevel account, you have a calendar and the appointment status is confirmed, right? What you can do is, I'm not showing you the other opportunity appointment automation because I have other videos on that. I just want to show you how you can move them to a pipeline automatically. So I'll use the same opportunity action here, creator update opportunity, and the pipeline will be sales, will be booked call. We are doing the same thing, but this time, because they booked an appointment, we are moving them to booked a call automatically. Status will still be open, and save it. So if you remember, we just created a workflow now saying stage change, no-show follow-up. So what if they are a no-show and they get moved to this workflow, right? Because you moved them to the no-show stage, you basically added them to this workflow, and this workflow is following up with them, and they book another time. Because they book another time, they are in this workflow now. Now you need to remove them from this workflow because let's assume they receive the first follow-up and then they book another time. There's no point in sending the other emails to him. So that's why in the booked appointment automation, what we're going to do is we are going to use another action called remove from workflow. And we are going to remove them from the no-show follow-ups. Once again, let's say they book for the first time, they become a no-show, they didn't show up for the call. That's why you moved them to the no-show stage, and this workflow triggered, and this workflow is sending them a bunch of automation. After the person received that first email, they booked another time. That's why they get moved back to booked appointment, and now you don't need them to receive the other follow-ups. That's why you remove them from the no-show follow-up. So we can assume if someone books a time, we don't need to send them any follow-ups anymore. So that's why we've done it like this. So far we have created these. We've also done this one. Now let's talk about stale opportunities. Let me explain what stale opportunities are. We go to our pipelines, opportunities. Okay, let's say we brought a lead and they booked a call, they attended the call, and they're right now here. So they've been sitting here for, I don't know, like 14 days. So since they've been sitting here for 14 days, nothing's happening. So we need to follow up with this person once they get moved to attended after 14 days. Again, they get moved to attended and they sit there for 14 days. And now we need to follow up with them because it's been so long. Now, what we need to do in order to do such stuff is we will copy this first of all, and then go to our workflow folder and go to start from scratch. Now, I just want to show you how to do that kind of automation through this. So the trigger will be stale opportunities. So we are configuring it like this. They are in the pipeline, sales pipeline, and they are in stage attended. And most importantly, the duration in days is 14. So they've been moved here and they've been sitting here for 14 days. That's basically our trigger for the workflow. And when that happens, we want to send them an email, something like everything okay. And we will say hi. Again, we will say contact first name, just checking to see if you have everything you need from us. Let us know if you have any questions. Happy to answer. So we're just following up with them just to warm them up and say, let us know if you have any questions. We've had a call and it went well, and we're just waiting for you to what needs to happen. So that's basically a stale opportunity. When a lead sits idle for a specific number of days in a specific pipeline stage, you can follow up with them, or you can get notification that this lead has been there for 14 days. So if you want to get a notification like that, send an internal notification and say this lead's been there for 14 days, just need to follow up with them, or just see what they want, can get a notification like that. So the main thing is the trigger. So when the trigger properly set up, you can automate whatever you like in this part. So that's basically a stale opportunity automation. Let's go here and let's mark this as done. So hopefully this video is helping you understand how the different opportunity-based automations work. We're not talking about any random automations, just talking about the automations that are involved directly with the opportunities and pipelines in GoHighLevel. We're not showing you other stuff. Now there are status-based automation. We've talked about statuses. Now if we go to our pipelines, let's click on this. There are different statuses: open, lost, won, abandoned. No, if you mark someone as lost, you can do that from here, or you can just start dragging this lead. This will show you three options. either to move them to one, move them to abandoned, or move them to lost, so that you can do it from here as well. Now, if you do it from here or you drag them to any of those statuses, doesn't matter, the same thing happens in the backend. You can perform automation. In my case, if we move someone to lost, we want them to disappear from this pipeline and then get added to another pipeline called lost, or get rid of that lead forever. Because if we mark someone as lost, there's no point in keeping them in the system, let alone in this pipeline. So what we will do is go to automation and create a lead automation or an opportunity automation. Let's say we will say lost lead delete from pipeline. Now what will happen is the trigger for this will be status. So opportunity status change, that's the trigger we are using in this one. And we will use in pipeline fails, and we will say moved to status lost. So this is not a stage-based automation. If they exist in any of those stages in our pipeline, let's say they exist in new lead, contacted, booked call, attended, any of those stages, and we move them to lost by dragging them or clicking on it and then changing the status, whatever. If we move them to lost, we want to remove opportunity. So we will use this action called remove opportunity. We will say all contact opportunities in the same pipeline. So if there are multiple opportunities that exist, we will remove them from this sales pipeline. That's basically what we're doing here. That's it. If they get moved to lost, we remove them. If they get moved to abandoned, we can either remove them or keep them in a different pipeline. So let's say we create another pipeline called abandoned. Okay, let's go to pipeline, create pipeline. We will say this is abandoned, and we will only have one stage called abandoned leads. We can have multiple stages, but I'm just keeping things simple and keeping one stage only. Now, if we move them to abandoned from now, we know that if we move them to lost, they'll get lost forever from our pipeline. If we move them to abandoned like this, they will disappear from this pipeline, but they will be added to this pipeline now. So in order to do that, we will create another one called abandoned. So we will say abandoned lead pipeline or abandoned lead automation. Now, similar thing, trigger will be status changed, opportunity status changed, and here the lead pipeline will be sales pipeline. So we are saying in the sales pipeline, if we move them to status abandoned, what we're going to do now is, first of all, remove them from our sales pipeline. So we will say remove them from sales pipeline and then create them, again, use the creator update opportunity, move them to the abandoned pipeline, and the status will be abandoned. Let's just test that. Let's go to our opportunities and we will move them to the abandoned pipeline now. Let's just move them to abandoned like this. Let's refresh. Okay, it's gone now from the sales pipeline. Go to abandoned and it still shows that. So if we'll click on advanced filters, because the status is only chose to open, so we'll just get rid of all the filters and then it should show up here. There we go. This lead automatically showed up in abandoned because we moved them to abandoned and the status says abandoned. So that's how the status-based automations work. Now, similarly, you can have a client's pipeline. So it's literally the same rule. So if you move them to one, you can add a client's pipeline here along with abandoned. And just like we created the abandoned automation, if you change the status to one, you remove them from the sales pipeline. First action, remove opportunity. And then the second action you'll do is create or update opportunity, move them to the client's pipeline. That's how this works. This is basically what we wanted to discuss in this video. And hopefully you have a better idea, better understanding of how the GoHighLevel opportunity-based automations work in specific. Let me know in the comments if you want me to cover anything regarding opportunities or anything in GoHighLevel in general. Hopefully we will cover it in one of the next videos. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to check my school community. I'll see you in the next one.